Once upon a time, in midwinter, when the snowflakes were falling like feathers from heaven, a queen sat sewing at her window, which had a frame of black ebony wood. As she sewed, she looked up at the snow and pricked her finger with her needle. 3 drops of blood fell into the snow. The red on the white looked so beautiful that she thought to herself, if only I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as the wood in this frame. Soon afterward she had a little daughter who was as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony wood, and therefore they called her Little Snow White.
Why hello, my name is Snow White, and this is my lovely little cottage in the woods that you just found. I don't own it. These 7 little dwarves that I live with own it. And they are out working right now, and I stay at home cooking and cleaning and making sure that everything in the house is taken care of. In fact, I made a little pie inside the kitchen over there. If you'd like to come from the dining table here over to the kitchen to smell the aromas, which are carrying over to the dining table, but I wanted you to see the pie that I made. It is very delicious. It is an apple pie. How do you feel about apple pies? You don't like them? I adore apple pies. Apples are my favorite fruit. They are very delicious. I cannot resist an apple. An apple is just irresistible to me. However, I've also picked some fresh roses from a rose garden nearby. Some red and some white, like apples, some red, even though I've never seen a white apple, but if ever I were to encounter an apple that was split down the middle, red and white, I might consider biting into it, only because it reminds me of my own name, Snow White. Snow being as white as obviously a white rose, and I've been told that my lips and my cheeks are as red as a red rose, so flowers tend to remind me of myself, and considering how I only have myself and the woodland creatures to keep me company, and you of course, I at times feel a little lonely, but I am glad that you are here now. We can converse about whatever's going on in the nearby kingdom. I've been a little out of the loop for a while now. Well, when one wants their isolation, one seeks out their isolation. There is no particular reason as to why I went off on my own, per se. So no more asking questions about that. But how may I take care of you? Would you like a slice of my apple pie? Would you like me to get you something to drink? We have a nice fine little pitcher here. Freshly milked milk. Nice and creamy. If you'd like some milk, I can proudly serve you some. Just here. Let me get you a cup, and I will serve you some milk. Texas bluebonnets. Texas. I do not know. However, bluebonnets I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with all matter of flowers and plants and nature, which is very fitting considering how I am now stuck in, or not stuck, but in living in a cottage in the woods now, with no escape in mind. But Why escape when everything is so beautiful? Why do you pour you some milk now? There you go. Drink up. I will be putting this right here. Now tell me, what of your travels? Have you traveled a lot? You seem to be a sort of wandering stranger. Someone who goes from village to village and kingdom to kingdom without a resting place. Fascinating. Here, give me one moment. Should I light this candle? I think that lighting this candle might provide a little bit of an warmth to this room. No candle? Well, you are my guest, and I will make sure that my guest is taken care of. If you do not want the candle, we will not have the candle. This is all about you. So, no candle for the dining table. Now, tell me more about your explorations. I am absolutely enthralled by anything that you might tell me. Very good. Do not forget to drink your tea. Or rather, not your tea, but your milk. My apologies. I tend to drink tea around this day just to give me a sense of peace during the day. And here, if you like, as you drink your milk, you may also smell these freshly plucked flowers. Their aromas are quite beautiful and strong. Yeah. Smell these white flowers. Does it not have a beautiful scent to it? A scent that beckons towards lost romances and possible loves in the future. Yes, of course. That is something that I sometimes get a little bit sad about because, as I've said before, I live here with 7 little dwarves, but they are all very old dwarves. They are all in their 70s, 60s. They are old. And I've always wanted to marry someone that was more my age, someone who understands me, someone who would protect me and, if need be, fight off a monster from me or fight off any villain from me. But it is a shame that I am no longer able to acquaint myself with any such hero, because once again I live in the woods where the only company I have are 7 little dwarves and woodland creatures. I love hearing about your explorations. It gives me a sense of living vicariously through your experiences. This is for me? I thank you. You shouldn't have a nicely packaged box. And there are flowers on it. Golden little patterns. Why, thank you. There was no need for you to give me such presents. I hesitate to open the box only because I want to preserve the moment. I want to treasure this moment and treasure this new treasure that you just gave me. Thank you, kind stranger. My dear, this is so beautiful. I don't think I could accept something so beautiful. This jewel encrusted golden mirror is quite beautiful. And this crown, another jewel encrusted gold piece. Absolutely Why, thank you. I don't deserve this. You must take it back. I do not deserve this. It is too much for me. I am but a peasant woman who lives humbly in a cottage. Well, if you insist. But are you sure? I don't want to waste this comb. I have not combed my hair in a long time. It is one of the luxuries I've lost from leaving the kingdom. Well, if you insist, I will comb my hair then. Thank you. I feel quite sleepy.
Once upon a time there was a sweet little girl. Everyone who saw her liked her, but most of all her grandmother, who did not know what to give the child next. Once she gave her a little cap made of red velvet. Because it suited her so well and she wanted to wear it all the time, she came to be known as Little Red Cap.
Hello there, grandmother. I brought all of the little gifts and treats you asked me to bring. Your little candies, your little bonbons, your little honey cakes, bundt cakes, some milk, freshly milked, some flowers, some little freshly picked pumpkins and squashes, some foliage, and of course your favorite candle. Well, I actually was gifted this bundt cake and these bonbons, these little candies here, from a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine rather, and I think that you're going to enjoy them a lot. Don't these look appetizing, grandmother? Of course, I know you've told me many, many times never to pick through your snacks, but I couldn't help sneak a couple of these pieces in. They're just so delicious. They looked so savory. Bonbons arôme violet, produit fabrique in Lorraine. My French could do a little bit of work. Not only these little tasty treats, but also this beautiful little box that contains a little honey cake. Look at the little drawing of a little boy and a little girl holding a picnic basket, or rather a bushel of flowers, and an umbrella. I perhaps mistook them for myself, since I'm always carrying around a basket. No, grandmother, I did not speak to anyone in the woods. What will make you think that I did? No, I went straight from my parents' home to this home. I did not stop at any instant to speak to any stranger. If you've told me once, you've told me 1,000 times never to stop to speak to a stranger. They are nothing but trouble and very dangerous. And you made that abundantly clear. Yes, you don't need to remind me, grandmother. I know very well. And yes, I picked these fresh out of my father's garden. I'm sure you appreciate your son's flowers returning back to their dear old mother. He did get his little green thumb from you, so be happy that your son is so talented and that he takes after you, grandmother. Would you like me to light the candle, grandmother? Not yet. Odd. You tend to like it when I light the candle. You say it gives the hearth a sense of warmth to it. No, I won't complain further. I'm simply noticing a distinction from your usual self, but if you don't want it to be lit, you don't want it to be lit, and I won't argue any further, grandmother. However, what do you think of the tiny little squashes and pumpkins that were picked? I myself considered them prematurely picked. I think we should have waited for them to grow riper, but Mother insisted that this was the perfect time to pick such squash and pumpkin. And also, of course, the lavender as well. Gives the room a touch of tranquility, don't you think? You don't like the lavender? Well, I apologize for that then. I thought you might like the lavender, but if you don't, then you could always remove it. Very well. I mean, if you don't like the lavender, I can always remove it. It isn't a very tranquil thing, grandmother. No, it isn't. Now, grandmother, what do you think of these sunflowers that I decorated around the candle? Do you find there to be a fault with these flowers? No, I'm not becoming sarcastic or anything of the sort. I just find it odd that you would find the usual things that you take delight in to be not to your satisfaction anymore. It makes me feel a little, I don't know, it makes me feel a little underappreciated, what I say. But I won't discuss it further. Let me just proceed with combing you, grandmother. I know how much you appreciate being taken care of, so I'll grab your antiquated brush, or your antique brush, and begin combing your hair. Just, would you mind removing your nightcap? That's an odd request, grandmother. But very well, you're acting very oddly today. Oh, your face this way. Face me. Excellent, thank you. It's a very odd request that I just comb the curls sneaking outside of your nightcap. Why don't you want to remove your nightcap, grandmother? I won't question it too much. I don't want to be a nosy Nancy, but it is a bit odd that you would behave so differently. Is there something wrong, by chance, if you don't mind the question? Well, there's no need to snap. I'm just doing my best to make sure you're taken care of. How does that feel, grandmother? Does it feel soothing? Is it relaxing you? Good. Your hair looks lovely, grandmother. It looks very beautiful. It's very luscious. Although I've noticed that there's some darker hairs peeking through your white hair. Have you been, by chance, dyeing your hair, grandmother? Dyeing the roots of your hair? An unorthodox decision, very unconventional. But I'll continue. Brushing through, even if you refuse to answer my questions, as simple as they may be. Let me continue coming through. Grandmother? Nothing happened between you and anyone else, did it? Did you have a falling out with a friend, perhaps? Do you feel a little temperamental? Are you by chance feeling a little just off or odd today? The only reason I persist is just because I'm concerned about you. But I'll continue brushing your hair. Would you mind turning this way? Turning towards your left. I just want to be able to get your other side. Perfect, thank you. Grandmother, would you mind turning all the way to the left, please? Yes, all the way to the left. Grandmother, I hope you don't find offense to this, but what a big nose you have. And what big eyes you have. And what large teeth you have. You're not my grandmother. You're the stranger I spoke to in the woods. You didn't.
In past times, there were a king and a queen who said every day, "Oh, if only we had a child," but they never received one. Then it happened one day while the queen was sitting in her bath that a frog crept out of the water onto the ground and said to her, "Your wish shall be fulfilled, and before a year passes, you will bring a daughter into the world." What the frog said did happen, and the queen gave birth to a girl who was so beautiful that the king could not contain himself for joy, and he ordered a great celebration. He invited not only his relatives, friends, and acquaintances, but also the wise women, so that they could kindly dispose towards the child.
I see you're having a little trouble sleeping. Well, so am I. You see, when you've slept for 100 years and can't recall, you develop some sleeping problems afterward. Here, let me help you. I have this nice tea for you. A warm drink, steaming, infused. The water's infused with some tranquil properties that'll help you feel very relaxed and then at ease. If you sip this up all the way, it'll help you feel more tranquil and calm. I'll leave this to the side so you can drink it. What properties are infused with the water? Well, that's a good question. Let us look into this book on herbs to see what is infused in it. A good light reading will help give you a sense of peace and to help rest your mind. It has to be light reading, otherwise you might not want to go to sleep. Let's see. I see. The property infused with this tea is lavender. Lions and tigers and zoos grew docile from the scent of lavender water. Lavender is one of the properties. of this tea. As is arnica. Arnica in infinitesimally tiny doses is to this day a standard homeopathic remedy for shock occasioned by a sudden painful injury. So, here's a book for you to have a light reading over. That way it just puts your mind at ease. Put this to the side as well. I have my own little nightstand supplied with plenty of things to keep me at ease and tranquil and relaxed and at peace. And if I ever need to really go to sleep and I can't, I have a thimble, or rather not a thimble, but a needle that I will just prick my finger on to go to sleep. But thankfully, I go to sleep quite permanently, but my husband, a prince, sleeps beside me, and he kisses me every morning, and with every kiss he wakes me up. Regardless if I pricked my finger or not, he will kiss me, and it just brings me back to life. So I trust that if I fall asleep in that manner so permanently or so risky, that my husband will do his part to resurrect me from the dead. So, well, my husband is someone that is absolutely adorable. He is a prince, as I've already mentioned, and he is a wonderful man. Granted, some people say that he did some very unwonderful things, some very criminal and atrocious things, but that is just some account of some tales. I try to remain to the more romantic version, which is that I was sleeping for 100 years along with my kingdom, and a dashing prince came from a faraway kingdom and stumbled upon my body lying within a regal tomb after having been informed by 3 fairies that I was asleep but relatively dead, and he came in charging, slayed a dragon for me, and came up the stairs, ran towards my bed, and kissed me on the lips. After which I awoke, and the kingdom awoke with me, and I fell instantly in love with such a handsome prince, with such nice curly blonde hair, and soft eyes, and beautiful lips, and such a masculine force about him. So, that's the story that I like to remember, and it's the story I'm going to stick to. And later on we had children. We had a few children, which to this day keep me awake, hence why I tend to have difficulty going to sleep, but it isn't something that I will let get to me. So, nonetheless, I've been yammering on about myself for far too long. Tell me something about you. And would you like it if I lit this candle over here? Candles are quite soothing, and this candle offers some more cleansing properties that I think you may appreciate. Alright, I won't light it, only because you don't want me to. In fact, I have a brilliant idea. I'm going to be doing some motions around your face to sort of get you more quiet and tranquil and at peace and sleepy, if this is okay with you. Very well. My husband does this to me sometimes, just to alleviate any stress that I'm having and to put me right to sleep. So, we're going to be having some visual triggers right now. Some focus triggers. Okay. So, focus right here at the center of my forehead. Keep focusing. Now, think about the center of your forehead. And keep focusing. Now focus on the center of my forehead. And keep focusing. And now focus on the center of your forehead. And keep focusing. Focus on the center of my palm. And keep focusing. 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 Focusing. Keep focusing. Okay? The center of my palm. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Perfect. Now to just there we go. Do you feel a little more tired? I myself am growing a bit tired. I'm yawning now. Keep focusing, keep focusing, keep focusing, keep focusing. Perfect. 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 Okay. Now, I'm just going to be clasping. And we're going to be having this nice little thought exercise. Okay? Pretend my hand is a spinning wheel. And pretend my pinky is a needle upon which the spinning wheel has placed upon it. On the count of 10, I'm going to ask you to press your finger against my pinky. Deeply. Press it down. Not too hard. Press it down. And then go to sleep at the snap of my fingers. Okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,